Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, seekers, and sojourners of truth. The 144, the chosen of the chosen of the chosen, few in you and you and you. I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am Aquila Textry in the divine energy essence of it all, reporting to you live from 5D, the fifth dimension. As always, bringing you the news for you to infuse as you so choose. And this news right now is about the spring equinox versus, I don't really like to say versus, but the spring equinox and the April 1st New Year. So the new year of spring equinox and the new year of April 1st, right? Whom or to which we've known as April Fools, right? It's no longer, right? Fools no more. We study fools no more. But, and why I'm bringing this up right now is because it's brought to my attention the difference. This is the first year where I've seen people saying Happy New Year on two different, points. Maybe I missed something, but I've been saying Happy New Year during spring for the past 3 years now. And I've done it usually during the equinox. I'm one of those who celebrate it on the spring equinox. As soon as the equinox hits and it is spring, it is saying spring is here, the new year is here, time to spring everything forth. Especially since it is tied to, or it's right next to, the astrological new year of us going forth into Aries, which I call Asar, but Aries. And that is when we begin the astrological new year. Pisces being the end, the last month, and Aries being the beginning, the new month of the new, you know, annual cyclical year, according to the stars. So I go more by the cosmos and the seasons, whereas there are some who now what I see is this new influx, so to speak, of people who celebrated on April 1st, realizing they're no longer no one's April's fool, which is congratulations to them all. Like, it's not an either or. That's why I didn't want to say verses, because the way I see it, we're all pages out of the same book. The whole point is kudos and congratulations to us all, for we no longer say Happy New Year in January, in the middle of winter or the beginning of winter. We no longer resonate with that lie, right? We're in the truth resonance and we are returning to the truth more and more. I said it earlier this year that the new collective consciousness, which is the true, nothing new under the sun, but we are awakening at a collective level, so that new collective consciousness is emerging. Now, we may not be on the same exact dates of when we say New Year, but the whole point is it's all spring. We're all springing forward and we're all saying Happy True New Year. And it just so happens that a lot more people, what I noticed this year, were saying Happy New Year on April. I've even had people send me, in my DM, Happy New Year. Some people, I've had one person say in March, they went as soon as March hit, as far as to say Happy New Year in March, because for them it began in March. Being that the equinox is in March, I find that people like that, not that there's nothing wrong with it, I'm just highlighting the differences, that people like that are still fixed in a state of mind where it has to be the first of the month. And really and truly, when we look at it, it's we have to break out of some concepts of what we think is the first of the month. This is how you know that some are still kind of tied to it a little bit, where you're breaking out of the old constructs, but you're tied to um, their cyclical month, their type of month that begins when they say the month begins, which we know really and truly we don't know when it is, because this is the month they came up with. The Romans, the Greeks, whoever decided to make their months in that way, which do not align with the stars, right? They do not align with the constellations, because the sun and the moon go around cyclically according to the stars, according to the constellations. Because why? The sun spends about 30 days, 28 to 30 days within a sign, within a house, whatever it is you want to call it, right? So as it does, that culminates, that kind of makes the month, right? So if you're going to go by that, and we're going by the stars, and we're going by the sun, the greater light to lead the day, as they say. So it's leading the days and saying, hey, this is 30 days of this month. And it begins when we enter into a sign. So as soon as it enters into Aries, that is truly the beginning of the month. However, they've thrown us off whenever they made this and somehow have it so that, the month begins about a week or two after we enter into a sign. If you notice that, you could notice that with every month. We enter into a sign about the end of their month, and then the next month kicks in right after that, which that month is mainly known for that sign. So for example, Aries, most people, when you hear Aries, you think most of these people are born in what? April. Because for the most part of the month, it's April, but they start at the end of March. Like the last week and a half of March, they start in the Aries season. So those late March people are known as Aries, and that goes into the entire month of April until you get to the end of April, that last week and a half, and then you go into Taurus. So it's like they put you in the sign the way they have it. You the sign, because you can't shift the constellations. So now, but then they have it where it's just looked at as a zodiac thing. And see, some people who are awakening to this, who may not be into the zodiac, the stars, the astros, they may not be aware of that, and they're not used to looking at months in that way, because we've all been taught the same way. We're all used to going, January, February, March, April, May, June, all of that, from the 1st to the 30th or the 31st or the 20th, whatever that month holds, however many days they say that month holds, right? So I find that people who, although they're coming out of knowing, of celebrating the new year in January, they're still used to a month being the beginning of a sign. They're still kind of tethered to that a little bit. So it's better going, it's easier, the transition for them as they're shifting out of this calendar. It's easier for them to embrace um, the first of a month, so April 1st, or for some, March 1st, depending on how they look at it, because their minds haven't really quite grasped the concept of, or being able to push past and say, you know what, I'm coming completely off of this calendar and I'm going to the stars. This is when the constellation, this is when according to astrology, according to the stars, this is when we enter into this month, right? According to the seasons, this is when we enter into spring. Is literally on the equinox, right? Just like we hit summer literally on the solstice. So it's, if we're following the natural order of the seasons of time, the constellations, the father time, universal time, then we'll go according to that, right? I'm not saying it's a right or wrong. It's just a step further, put it that way. They're both going in the direction of, we're moving away from celebrating in January, but we're going in at a different pace. And one is a little bit further, taking it a little bit deeper. So I find that those who are celebrating, it's easier for them now because, for one, the empirical evidence, this is another thing, right? The first one is what I said, it's easier for them to embrace what has been habitually used in this manner, the first of the month, the first of the month. So you would automatically, it's like your brain automatically is triggered to go to the first of a month, which is still their month, right? The second thing is empirical evidence, right? So it's their empirical evidence. These are people who go by, they do the research, and when they do the research, they find that, oh, April 1st used to be New Year's until the Gregorian calendar, and then it was moved to January, right? To celebrate Janus, or something to do with that deity, Janus. However, they're used to, when they look it up, it tells them this, and this is true. It used to be celebrated April 1st. So they're going by, okay, according to empirical evidence, this is what it was. This is what I'm going to return to, right? And they know now that this is why it was called April Fools, because when they moved it to January, they left behind all those people who celebrated it in April, and if for they would then say to them, April Fools, like, fooled you, we moved it. This ain't New Year's no more. Fooled you, we moved it. So it became this Fool's Day, and this day that everybody play with, April Fools, April Fools. Um, but this year, I noticed that there weren't too many people playing with the April Fools, because I feel like the energy is saying we're nobody's fool. We're not playing April Fools with you. Study fools no more. This is not us. We're not your court gesture. We're not shucking and jiving with you. No, we know. This ain't, we're not the fools. You're the fools. The ones who said, Happy New Year in January. They probably gonna start calling them January Fools on January 1st. January Fools, because this is where we are now, so they're returning back to saying, hey, this is the beginning of the year, according to not only just that, but because it's spring. They're coming back to aligning with spring, which is only about a week and a half after the equinox. So we're still in the same ballpark. It's still all spring. But what I do notice is these are the different tiers of us that are awakening. And you can see that those that go to this route, it is because it is easier to digest. It is easier to assimilate, to go by the empirical evidence, as well as what you're used to in your mind, going from the first of the month. Like I'm hearing that song, it's the first of the month. Wake up, get your checks and come on. Like, come on, we going to the first of the month. So the next step is to break beyond that first of the month concept and understanding the month really is aligned with the constellations and the stars. And so the month actually begins wherever Aries begins. That is another concept. But when you're ready and in due time, until then, celebrate on. We each can celebrate each other's, there's no need to argue about, no, it's this day, it's that day. As long as we're all in spring and we're in the swing of things, and we're not saying new year when we should be in like a respiriting mode and a hibernation mode according to nature and the stars and so forth. As long as we are aligning with divine time and not man's construct of time, that's a plus. That's a A-OK. So with that, I share with you all, this is the difference, just having us to kind of look at the difference between the two, of New Year's on the equinox or New Year's on April 1st, which is no longer April's Fool, right? And we return that, we kick that back to the people in January who want to be the January Fools, right? Not calling nobody out, but we gonna throw the court gesture that way, right? So with that, um, this is what it's looking like, so I invite us to all be a part of this spring fling and springing forward in time, and let's just celebrate each other. So to all those who celebrate, I personally do it on the spring equinox, but to all those who celebrate on the first, happy true new year to you. And with that said, I send you all in love. Have a happy, happy, true new year for the entire year that you are coming into. It's a tough year, so buckle on up and enjoy the ride. With that, each one, reach one, teach one. If you don't know where to start in your big, beautiful heart. Shine your light from the inside out and be the candle that lights the next one and the next one and the next one. Peace, love, and light.